Welcome to Worthy of Note, the podcast where one overthinking girlie shares her various musings about the world with the world. I'm your host, Lauren Carlton. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Worthy of Note. How is everybody doing? Great or not great? I don't know because I didn't hear you, but I'm hoping you answered and I'm hoping that you're doing fantastic. I was not. I'm just gonna, I don't know if anybody, I don't really know the following or anything, how many people consistently listen to this, but if you were expecting an episode last Saturday only to open up Spotify or wherever else you stream this podcast from and see the absence of yours truly, that is because I have just been really not doing well. So just to give a little brief kind of overview of the last couple of weeks, I have been doing therapy, which is fantastic. I'm so grateful and happy that I'm finally able to access good therapy, not even just like, a therapist, but also like therapy that is suited to what my needs are and not just something that's like online or, this is online, but like not something that's like legit. I was looking into BetterHelp and I was like, I was genuinely considering it for a while because I was like, I cannot afford actual like good therapy. And, I don't know if you guys have heard much about BetterHelp, but it's maybe look into it, make judgments for yourself. But in my opinion, it's not the most reputable place. So I was just really not getting therapy for a while. And the stuff that I did get was like very crisis based. So it wasn't really unpacking all of the stuff that I really need to unpack. It was mostly addressing like current, very, very present issues and threats to my mental health. So, I'm really excited to be able to have pretty steady therapy sessions. But the thing is, something that I don't think that I really factored into this equation of healing is that when you start talking about all of the traumatic things that have happened in your life, shit gets sad. Okay, shit gets really, really low. Like plummets to the depths of hell, to the inner core, past the mantle of the earth, into the abyss. And that's exactly what I was feeling. As I was like very, very low. I also was just like very on edge at the same time. And like my therapist is great. She's like, it's a bit crazy because I don't know if any of you have like experienced this or not when you like first start therapy with like a really, really good therapist and like you have these revelations about your life that you didn't even realize. And that's exactly what was happening to me. Like I was like, oh my God, I didn't even know that I was acting this way because of things in my childhood. Like that's actually really crazy. And like every session, I've only had 3 sessions with my therapist, and each and every one has, revealed more to me about the way that I react to things and my trauma and like, how my poor upbringing like affected me now. And it's just like, it's amazing that I can understand that, but it's kind of a paradox because like, yeah, you can dig up that stuff and like make these revelations, but with that comes a constant hyper awareness of how those things are showing up in your life. And so I was unpacking these things with my therapist, and then I would go to work the next day and be like, so that's why I'm people pleasing. I just people pleased. And that's because of my upbringing. And I was like trained basically to fawn and people please. That's just one of the examples of like one of the things that I learned. And like ever since I've started noticing in all of my interactions, how, not compliant, but like appeasing I can be, I guess, or like, what is it? Pacifying. Yeah. I want to say there's another word for that, but like, I tend to like not really be as confrontational and really want people to like me and really want people to talk to me and really want to get the approval of other people. And I'm in my head, I'm like, I, for the longest time, like, thought that I am not like that anymore. I was, out of all the three, going back to like how upbringing affects us, like out of all three of the kids, so me and my two siblings, I was most definitely the more rebellious one. And I think probably has to do with the age gap between us two, or us three, I guess. So I was like younger and I guess had a slightly different upbringing. It's like the last kid is like, who cares? Not who cares, but like, you know, it's the last kid. Different rules, I guess. But I, for the longest time, was like, I've written off my parents. Like, I don't have any sympathy. I don't really have any interest in speaking with them. Like, I was strong enough to do that. And so how is it that I'm people pleasing? If I was still a people pleaser, I would still be in contact with so many of these people that I have used to have in my life. But then I realized, like, yeah, you may not be a people pleaser to your parents anymore because you've dealt with it for, 19, 20 years before everything came to fruition. And, that was enough for you. But like, now your dynamics of pleasing your parents and those around you is starting to show up in your interactions with other people. Just because you don't do that with your parents anymore doesn't mean that it's not still a part of your personality, I guess, or your response to people. And so that blew me away. And ever since, I just have kept noticing it. And then I'm like, oh my God, I didn't realize I was this fucked up. And like, I'm going to have to unravel and unpack and learn how to like, be better for myself and not be anxious and not be like, oh my God, I want them to like people please, people please, people please. And like, I just kept crying. Like, I swear I pretty much cried every single day of last week. And some of those times happened to be at work. And I hate crying at work. I could make a whole podcast episode about this, which I won't do today, but I look out. I really hate crying at work. I used to cry a lot at work. I think I have cried at every single job that I've ever had, actually, even back to like high school when I was a bagger at the commissary. There was a lot to cry about there, to be honest, though, to be very fair. But we were getting paid on tips only, but it's fine. It's fine. Anyways, but yeah, like I, cry very easily and a lot more easily now that I'm seeing all these dynamics show up in my life. And I'm like, oh no. So I cried. I got sent home early twice last week. And I'm just like, I don't want people to see me as like weak. And here I go again. Perception. Like it shouldn't matter. You're not weak. You're capable. You just are going through something and a season of growth, and it's hard, and growth is not always, sunshine and honeybees and the butt crack of a butterfly. They're all I don't know where I came from, but none of it's not sweet and beautiful. It hurts. So I have to keep reminding myself of that. But yeah, so that's why that's why I didn't do a podcast episode. I was probably crying somewhere, either at work or in my home. But I had my most recent therapy session a couple of days ago. And I feel really optimistic because I explained this to my therapist. I was like, I don't even know if I can continue because this is not sustainable for me to be crying like this every single day. And it's starting to affect my work. Like it wasn't really because like it's very slow at work right now, but like, I can't be doing this and having to talk to people. Like I don't want to be crying in front of people. And so she was like, I have a couple of coping skills that you can do in real time to like distract yourself from noticing all these dynamics and stuff. And like also try to, interrupt your brain almost when it comes to trying to hyperanalyze everything. Because there's not all the time is me people pleasing coming from like my childhood. She brought it up to me. She was like, you're very much a people person, so like naturally it's just in your personality that you would be very, very like accommodating and outgoing. And then I thought about it and I was like, yeah, she's pretty much right about that. I definitely have developed an extroversion that I did not have when I was younger. And so it makes sense that I would have more of an inclination to like kind of fawn around people, but not fawning, but just like get along easily with people and be agreeable. And so she was like, so those are instances you don't have to analyze that. Like, that's not a bad thing. Like, that's just part of your personality. Where it comes down to when it becomes unhealthy is when you're in moments of conflict or when you are needing to stand up for yourself. And that's when you fawn, because your response naturally is to just, not stir the boat because of how you were raised. So that actually really helped me kind of making that distinction. And so now I feel like I'm a little bit more capable of, not, at least hopefully, not crying as much, at least, at work and just in general. So, but I'm feeling a lot better now. I just was like very, very despondent. I mean, that's a big word. That's a strong word, but I think that's where I was. So yeah, I am back. I'm back in the habit. Sister Act 2. It's actually the best one. Sorry. Both of them are great. Go watch him. Anyways, but speaking of media, I figured that this would be a really fun episode, given that the holidays are coming up. The holiday of the Valentine's Day. Just one holiday, but the festivities of the love day are coming up. I thought it would be great to kind of have a Valentine's Day theme. I am single at the moment and not talking to anyone, so I won't be celebrating Valentine's Day in the traditional way that it is typically celebrated. But, I won't be a Grinch or whatever. I'll, put on the heart sweater, wear it to work, my heart glasses. I do love, okay? While I may be single, I do be loving some love, all right? I love romance. I love shitty reality TV shows about love. So, yeah, I figured I'd talk a little bit about Love is Blind coming up. Love is Blind season 6, Love is Blind US season 6, is coming out on Valentine's Day, and they know what they were doing with that release date. They knew exactly what they were doing, because literally we are just getting off of the train wreck that was Love is Blind season 5. Like, were we not all present and accounted for when that season came out? I don't think anybody really understands like the extent of my devotion to this show, this terrible show. It's terrible. I really don't think that its premise and its like popularity has been like nearly like as like astronomical since probably season 2. I mean, I personally, my favorite season, I don't know yet. I kind of have to think about it. Favorite couples, Cameron and Lauren, obviously. But like, not sure what my favorite season is in terms of, because like all of them were very dramatic, but like different types of drama, if that makes any sense. So have to think about that. But we literally, it's been what, 4 months since the last season ended and aired? Like, what are y'all doing, Netflix? I'm so sorry. Like, I mean, I get it. Like, I honestly think that this is getting to be where they're understanding that people are growing tired of this show and of this premise, because realistically, I think the premise is kind of dumb too, because it's not blind. Like, you're not this whole social experiment with the freaking Lachey's. Oh my god. I kind of love it though. I kind of love it. But like the whole this is a social experiment. Is love truly blind? Like, no. First of all, you're testing this experiment with no sort of like control group, no sort of dependent variable, independent variable. Yes, I know the scientific method. I was present for that class in the 5th grade, and that's the only thing from science that I remember. Not really. But like, there's no sort of like constant in this experiment. If it's a real experiment, like, there needs to be some level of organization. It's a reality TV show, like, I get it. So you've got to have some tea, you got to have some drama that's like played up, you know, and rigged a little bit. But like, it doesn't make any sense, the premise itself, because if you were trying to test if love is blind, then you would do something akin to like Married at First Sight, where it's basically like they're in the pods for most of the time for like 3 or 4 weeks versus, and then like they're out of the pod. When they get out the pod, they have to like go to the altar, like, or like 2 days, like they have like a honeymoon day, or like similar to like a fantasy suite from like The Bachelor or something, which is like a weekend or something, and then they have to get married at the end of that weekend. But having the way that it's currently set up, it doesn't make sense to have them fall in love, quote unquote, in these pods over the course of 10 days and then have the majority of their time be physical and be when they are able to see each other, because you're not testing if love is blind. It's literally just a basic dating reality TV show. Like, at that point, like, you're not, the gimmick kind of dies after like the first 2 episodes because you're not in the pods anymore. And my personal favorite part of the show is the pods. Like, the pods and the reunion are probably my favorite. So the beginning and end basically are my favorite parts of the show, because the pods are compelling. Like, you're not seeing this person, you don't know anything about this person, it is completely blind, like new, like blind date, perfect. And like, you get to say what you want to say and need to say and get to know, without the pressure of a person looking at you or seeing you, who they are and if you would be a good match, or if you think you'd be a good match, and you can fall in love with them. I do believe you can fall in love with somebody without seeing them. I personally think the metaphysical it does tend to override the physical. Granted, you know, I love looking at hot people just as much as the next person, okay? But like, I would definitely say that like, you can fall in love, but again, in the right execution of this premise, because the premise just doesn't make sense. And I've always stood on this, even from the first season. I was like, this is not a social experiment, this is literally just a dating show. Like, stop trying to put that gimmick on it, Vanessa Lachey. I'm so sorry, it's not working. But it's like, you have to have more time, first of all, to determine if you're falling in love with someone, because these people are in these pods for like 16 hours. I heard that article come out and I was like devastated. I was like, oh my God, this is terrible. The producers should be jail, penitentiary, lockdown, bars. Like, no, I'm so sorry. But like, a lot of shit happens behind the scenes. And I really think that like, if they're going to continue to bring in viewers and have a successful show, and have a show that like people actually want to watch without being able to call the BS from the very beginning, they need to like either create a union, have some sort of support group. Like, I don't know. Everybody on that needs counseling, in my personal opinion, because you cannot put somebody in those pods and then have cameras on them and then expect them to like, and this is, again, I say all of this fully planning on being front and center when on Wednesday, February 14th. I am that okay. I could recognize that this is shitty, and I think like it's a reality TV show, so I expect it. That being said, if you are going to want people to continue coming on your show and to continue just for business reasons, even if you don't actually care about these human people, for business reasons, you need to make sure that you are feeding them, you are giving them counseling services, you are checking in on them, you are not putting them in, uncomfortable, potentially dangerous situations, aka Matt and Colleen, season 3. Yeah. Y'all, I could literally talk about this for like, I hope, if you have not seen Love is Blind, what are you doing? Start with season 1. It kind of goes down from there. I'm not going to lie, but all the seasons are entertaining in their own way. But yeah, if you don't want to watch it, you don't have to watch it. If you hate reality TV shows, I'm sorry. That's, I guess, one of my guilty pleasures, shitty reality TV shows, but not really guilty, because honestly, I think you can really learn a lot from shitty reality TV shows. Like, I love analyzing the dynamics, like the people's body language. Like, that's very interesting to me. Okay, very educational. Anyways, so yeah, I don't know what to expect for season 6. I think the premise, I've already talked at length about the premise, but I think it's getting kind of tired. And I've noticed, looking back, every single season has had some new like wild card. So season 1 was season 1. I think ever since season 1. So season 1, the gimmick itself was just like kind of wild. Also, I think when it comes to like the timing of when these things are coming out, it's very important, because season 1 came out during COVID. Everybody was stuck in their house. Everybody was watching TV. Everybody was watching their comfort TV shows the 50 billionth time. And so when something new comes out, like a terrible reality TV show, especially when one that was pre-filmed, so like it's not like it's live or anything, and so people, this is before COVID, so it's still a good show, essentially. Like, it still gives you a sense of nostalgia for times past. Yeah, we ate that shit up. I'm so sorry. Like, we ate it up. Gobbled. So, of course, season 1 was a smash hit. And so I think, season 2, I guess the gimmick, I don't really know if it was necessarily a gimmick, but like, I think season 2's gimmick, I guess, a little bit was the whole religion conversation between Shayna and Kyle. I definitely think that, like, one thing that people definitely try to shy away from, not me, I need to know everything. Like, you believe that I deserve rights? You like black people? All right. Because like, sometimes I have to ask that even to other black people. I'm like, it says light skins only in your bio. That's really interesting. Why am I here then? Anyway, but like, I'm saying, like, a lot of times Love is Blind, like, sometimes tries to tackle, I think this was the first time it tried to tackle any sort of like political or like religious like values, and like core value stuff when it comes to those subjects. And I think they did that with Kyle for the first time, with Kyle and Shayna, where he was an atheist, she was a Christian. And so I think that was interesting, because a lot of times people they shy away from that, at least for the first couple of dates. So I guess that kind of was a gimmick. And then season 3, Bartise, oh my God, couldn't stand that man. Jail. Apparently has a kid now, which is like good on him, I guess. God bless the kid. Jeez. Treated Nancy like absolute dung, absolute codswallop. I don't understand how she was able to say yes to that man at the altar. We'll never know, but hope the best for everyone in that situation. But season 3, I think the gimmick, like, I think people were starting to kind of lose momentum, because also another thing, like, all of these people on Love is Blind are just conventionally, like, objectively, even though attractiveness is subjective, but like objectively, according to society, like US society, attractive as hell. Like, all these people are hot as hell. And so I think that was like one of people's main like qualms and issues with the show, is because it's like, how are you gonna say Love is Blind and like put all this emphasis on like, oh, fall in love with someone sight unseen, and it's like, and like, oh, despite how they look, their race, their religion, blah 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 blah. And it's like, well, you can't do that when most of the people, I mean, obviously, like, everybody has their own types or whatever, right? So it's not just because you put a bunch of attractive people in the room together doesn't mean they're all gonna find each other attractive. But like, there was no real risk Like there was no, like, they didn't put any plus size people on there. They didn't put anybody with at least physical disabilities on there. I mean, it was kind of diverse. Like they had some black people on it, but like the final couples were not, like, were pretty basic white. So like, no, like I don't, I call BS on that whole premise. Like, if you're gonna do that, you need to actually cast like plus size people. But again, I don't know if I'd want that because, like, I would hate for someone to like get attached to a person, someone who's plus size to get attached to a person, particularly a woman who's plus size get attracted to a guy, because it's all, also it's very heteronormative. But like, what else is new with dating shows? But like, you know, getting attracted to this guy and like falling in love, and then the reveal, and then he's like, oh my god, she's so fat, and it's like, like that would be so devastating, like for someone to be like, I'm not attracted to big girl. Like, that's because guys exist like that. Not only do they exist like that in the world, they exist like that on that show, i.e. Shake and Bartice. Like, literally, so yeah, I mean, I kind of echo a lot of people who say like, yeah, I don't think I'd want to see like a bigger person on here, because like that's just recipe for really hurt feelings, disaster, and harassment. So kind of sad, but I do think season 3 brought, I think they were trying to like tease it too, because they had some plus size people in the trailer. Never ended up being a final couple, but they were like, I think their new gimmick for this was like, Alexa, oh, I'm, plus size, I'm a bigger girl. She was, maybe not to, belittle or like, what is the word? Dismiss. Yeah. Why can't I think of words today? Anyway, not to like dismiss how she feels about her body is literally her right and her own, like, to feel. So it's her body, right? But in my personal opinion, Alexa looked very average size. She looked pretty much maybe mid-size or so. She was a little bit curvy, but like she would be able to walk into a regular store, like walk into an H&M or, an Old Navy or a Zara, and be able to buy a good amount of what they have in there. So I don't know. I feel like they tried to kind of, but even after that, like they didn't even after like the first couple episodes, like they didn't even mention it again. I don't feel like they didn't even mention her journey with like her self-acceptance in her body. And so it's just like, you could at least, like, even though she actually isn't like, particularly plus size, or she's like very model plus size, I would say, where like the general shape of you is still very much conforming to like regular or like typical beauty standards. Like, even though she was that very much that, like, you could at least talk a little bit more. She could at least have talked a little bit more about her journey throughout, so it didn't just seem like it was shoehorned in there for like, oh, I heard you guys talking, we need to put plus size people in there, here you go, here's one person. So yeah, I think that was their gimmick for season 3. Season 4 was just a hot mess. I honestly think season 4 is my favorite season. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. There was so much to unpack. I think the gimmick there was that dusty ass live reunion. I stayed up like very late when I had to work the next day because I wanted to see what the hell was going on on this reunion. And so, yeah, big flop. The season itself, again, I think it was very interesting, and I think all the people in it were very interesting, which is very rare because usually there's that one boring couple, which I guess might have been like Bliss and Zach, but even with them, like, they didn't start off as Bliss and Zach. So, yeah. Season 4 kind of ate, but I do think they still were trying to, like, I think season 4 brought back a lot of the, like, pizzazz, like the razzle dazzle that season 1 had almost. But that's because it was so messy, like with Jacquelina, oh my god, and Josh. I kind of called that they would no longer be together. I think that was wild. Like everything that came out about that season was wild. And so, yeah, I think that was like the most compelling season that we'd had yet. But then season 5 rolls around and it's just people acting crazy. Uche, oh my god, that man, he is ChatGPT. I feel that they modeled ChatGPT after that man. Like he is the OG. I don't understand how he even got on the show with that voice. Like I don't make fun of people's voices because sometimes I think my voice is a little annoying. I'm not even gonna lie, just because I can get kind of nasally sometimes. But it's, or like sometimes if I'm like really excited or if I'm like talking really fast or something, then my voice gets high pitched and I don't like that. So I get it. Not everybody's voice, like you're not gonna jive with everybody's voice, but it's the voice they were born with. So it's not like, you know, unless they're putting on an affect, that's kind of what they're rocking with. But this man, again, ChatGPT, yeah. I wouldn't have been so put off by it if he wasn't such a trash person on this TV show. Like obviously all this is heavily edited, and I forgot to mention, like every single one of these TV shows, regardless of who they're run by, heavily edited, right? But just like by the way he was talking to people and how he was interacting in these conversations, just bad vibes, really bad vibes, and just very disrespectful and high and mighty and superior. And yeah, just didn't like it. And yeah, so like that was that whole Lydia Uche Aaliyah thing was just bonkers to me. And so I think honestly after that season though, like people are just tired. Like I think every new thing, like obviously the 5th season brought the gimmick, I think, of oh my god, somebody somebody else in the pods, oh my god, who would have thought? Which I don't know, I think they knew, I think the producers knew, but like that's the new gimmick for this one. And like also the new gimmick is that the two singular couples, I don't know, I personally feel like people were just like, I am just tired. Like they're just trying to do more and more stuff to keep us coming back, because the original premise is kind of shit, unless again they change it to where you're in the pods for like the 5 weeks, and then the other week you're finally able to see that person and like have sex and stuff, if that's what you want to do. So I don't know what to expect for season 6. I will be watching it again, front and center, right? Because I want to see the tea. But we'll see how this season goes. If it's like really terrible and really egregious, like I might consider not watching it anymore. But I feel like it's just become like part of like like I'm so big into the lore and into like the show itself, like, and like it's such a guilty part. Like I will put that on if I'm having the worst day and just laugh and enjoy, because it's so entertaining to me and so funny to me. So yeah, that's that's my thoughts on Love is Blind. Let me know what your thoughts are on the, because you know they always be releasing this shit like chunk by chunk, giving us breadcrumbs and shit. I am not a mouse. Please give me the whole entire season. Thank you very much, including the reunion. I mean, okay, I can see maybe putting people like having them wait for the reunion, because like, yeah, you gotta bait them a little bit, but like not the whole ass season. We ain't got time for that. Anyway, so let me know what you think if you do decide to watch Love is Blind. I might talk about it on next week's episode, and what my initial thoughts are. So stay tuned for that if you want to know the tea. Speaking of romantic media, I will bend over backwards. I will bend myself into a pretzel for the romance genre in general, but specifically when it comes to movies. I am a sucker for rom-coms. That's literally my favorite genre ever. And I always get super excited when people want to talk about their favorite rom-coms, their favorite movies in general, but particularly rom-coms. And I hate that like rom-coms or liking rom-coms is kind of looked down upon because yes, they tend to be a little formulaic, and yes, they tend to be a little sappy, but so am I. Okay, I'm not formulaic in any way. If I was, I would have solved myself at this point. But I'm very sappy and I love love. We already established this. Get with the program. A lot of the rom-coms I've watched over the years have shown certain tropes that I have either grown to love or hate or both. And I figured what would be a better way in the spirit of the season to rank 10, the main, I would say, the top 10 romance tropes. I have on my phone a official ranking from yours truly, 1 to 10. I'm going to start at 10, which is 10 being the lowest. And also just to give you like a little bit of a disclaimer slash back, like, I guess, you know, warning, not a warning, a disclaimer, I guess. These are all going to be super heteronormative, and I am very sorry. Because that's one of the many issues I take with the romance genre. Yes, I love it, but also several issues. But specifically rom-coms, there's not a lot of like gay or queer people represented in those, which sucks. And I feel like, especially since like the classic, I would say rom-coms, like, you know, early 2000s and stuff, like they didn't really have a lot of gay, like, well, none of them really had, not that I know of, had any like gay leads or anything. And if there were gay people even in the movie, they would either be used as like the like butt of a joke, or they'd be like the stereotypical encouraging, you know, emotional support animal, basically gay best friend. And I think that sucks. I think we need more dynamic characters. We need more you know, involved and fleshed out, and people, like more queer people with lore in these films. And I think they'd honestly make it a lot more, obviously not only more representation, but also just more interesting. Like sometimes you want to know more about like what it's like navigating the dating realm, I guess. That sounds very royal. The dating world, I guess, as someone who carries a different identity other than white, cis, and straight. Like, you know, it would be nice to see. Also, that's another issue I have. There's probably, out of the vast majority of rom-coms I've seen, maybe one of them. Actually, no, one. I don't even know, but like, yeah, maybe one of them. Last Holiday with Queen Latifah. That's literally the only one that has a black, specifically a black female main love interest. None of the other ones I've seen are, and they're all literally recycled characters. Like J-Lo was in, she ruled the world. She was booked and busy like for 10 years. From like 2000 to 2010 when it comes to this genre. So yeah, those are just like my disclaimers, my qualms. So yes, these are going to be very heteronormative. I'm very sorry. If you know any good recommendations for me to watch with people who have different identities than like the normal identities that you often see in rom-coms, please let me know. I would love to peruse. I would love to add to my sappy rom-com loving heart. Okay. So I'm going to, like I said, start at 10 being the lowest and my least favorite. And yeah, just listen to the tropes that I say and, you know, kind of follow along if you would like with your own ranking. But I will reveal the full ranking at the end. So, romance trope number 10 being the worst is the good girl and the bad boy. Throw it away. Trash, landfill, incinerator. Disgusting. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, but I'm sick of it. Imagine how tired we are, because all I can think of is after, and that girl, the way that I walk around my apartment just saying fucking Trevor. Fucking Trevor. like that. Oh my god. Oh my god. How did he get past the audition? I mean, it's nepotism. He was in Harry Potter. His father, I want to say, or uncle is Ralph Fiennes. I'm probably saying that wrong, but his uncle was Voldemort, and Voldemort acted down. I don't understand where the genetics went when making who we now know as Hawden for the after movies. And it shows so much. I was talking with my friend Emma about this like the other day. Literally nobody from the original movie of After, because there's like 5 movies. Didn't even need to be one movie, let alone 5. But there's like 5 movies. And literally every single one of them, there's a casting change. Literally the mom, Tara at the end of it, or Tessa at the end of it, has like, she's on like her 3rd mom basically, because they've recast that role so many times. Literally the only 2 constants are Hardin and Tessa when it comes to like the role, like people playing the roles. And I guess maybe that's kind of poetic if you want to look at it that way, but I will not. So yeah, good girl, bad boy. I personally just don't like this trope at all. After is just one example of that, but I feel like 50 Shades of Grey is another example of that. I just feel like it's very, and again, I literally just said these are all very heteronormative, which is probably some of my issue with some of these tropes, is that like it's very much like, oh, it's either one, she can heal him with her, never-ending unconditional love, even though he's shown her several times that he is emotionally unavailable and or abusive, or 2, he can bring out the darkness in her by throwing down on the kitty. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, like, I'm sorry, that's literally what it is. Like, yeah, oh my gosh, she's such a good girl, like I really really love her, and I don't even know if I love her, but I want to have a quick fuck, so I think I'm gonna do that. She needs me in her, literally, in order for us to grow closer together, in order to bring out the bad in her. And then they have sex, and it's just like, she's like, oh, I'm not a good girl anymore, like, and it's just like, bruh. I hate it. I'm so sorry. It's so formulaic, and also it also just like represents it. It insinuates that like, a relationship can work, or 2 people who just are diametrically opposed when it comes to them being able to be in a relationship, and just like terrible compatibility. It insinuates that they can be together and belong together just because of sex, and it's just like, nah, honey buns. Like, if you want to have like a hookup or something like that with somebody that you would not be able to be in a healthy relationship with, have at it. I won't toe that line, because again, I'm very emotional and I get attached very quickly. So I know my limits. If you know yours, and they allow you to be able to do that and like leave and know your worth and your value, and know that you're not going to settle for BS from somebody beyond like what you allow, or beyond like just getting what you also need, have at it. But that's not the case in good girl, bad boy situations. It's never the case. I've never seen the girl be like, I'm a good girl. I mean, obviously they're not going to say that, but the trope is still very much there. But I've never seen a good girl say like, I'm worth more than this. You can heal, and I wish you the best, and I hope you do, but I don't have to be there for it. Goodbye. Okay? So, and neither does my vagina have to be there for it either. So, toodles. Okay? Yeah, hate it. Really, really hate it. That's why it's number 10. It's at the bottom. Next trope that I have is the unrequited love trope. So also, speaking of, I wanted to say, like, these are like tropes that I see in romance movies, but not necessarily like tropes that are like end in a romance, if that makes any sense, or end in people getting together. Like some of them are like that. But unrequited love, I'm sorry, I hate it. I've experienced it too much in my life. So maybe this is a little bit personal, but also I also just don't like it because oftentimes when it ends up with like the person who's unrequited ending up with, you know, their object of affection or whatever, it's usually after they go through this huge transformation, typically physically. So like with like, I guess I don't want to like say like She's All That was like a example of that, because like she, like the main character did not have a crush on like who she ends up with particularly before she had her whole makeover. But I will say most movies where the love is unrequited, it's very much you need a makeover, you need to look completely different than, or like a very different version of yourself in order for this person to like you, in order for you to be worthy of attention and love from this person. And I just don't know if I like that. I mean, clearly I know I don't like it because it's number 9, but it's like, there's just so many issues that can come with that, especially for me as a, you know, woman growing up in America. Like I've had a lot of crushes that were not returned. And I always like, until very recently, like until maybe the last, like a couple of months ago, I always would think, well, what's wrong with me? Is it because I have acne? Is it because my eyes are too close together? Is it because I need to lose weight? Literally, these are all 3 things that I have actually thought about when being rejected by someone. And it's like, it's ridiculous. Like you should not, your initial reaction to being rejected should not be focused inward. Like it shouldn't be, unless it's inward in a form of loving yourself and caring for yourself after rejection, because rejection sucks and it's hard. But your, you know, vitriol should never be turned inward. The only thing that should be turned inward towards you is, okay, this feels shitty, I'm going to mourn it for a little bit if I feel like it, but I know that I'm worthy of the love and care of other people, and worthy of the love and care for myself and from myself. And I just have not met, you know, this person who will love me in that way yet. But until then, I'm going to love myself. And that is, I didn't realize that until literally the last time that I dated somebody. So yeah. So I really don't like this trope because I really think that it reinforces the whole, well, what's wrong with me? What could be the issue with me? When really 99.99999% of the time has nothing to do with you, why somebody rejected you. It usually has something to do with them, which I know sounds very cliche, but it is very true. Like it's their inability to love you how you need and deserve. So that's on them. They rejected you because they were not able to love you and cherish you in the way that you needed or at all. And that's not fair to you, to try and stick around waiting for them to do that rather than just like cutting them off or like just being friends or whatever. And then moving forward and focusing on yourself until you run into somebody who does love you in that way, right? So, yeah, I really don't like the unrequited love trope. I think it's just, like, it can be cute, I guess. And we'll get into a little bit of, like, something similar to this trope later. But, yeah, not a fan. Number 8, literally, okay, we're getting to it sooner than I thought then. Number 8 is that the trope of they're already taken. So this is a little bit different than unrequited love, but I think they kind of overlap. So say you have a friend, or they might not even be a friend or anything, but you have someone you really like and it turns out that they have a girlfriend. So I've experienced this a couple of times where I was like really jiving well with somebody and then I found out, oh, they are taken. So that kind of sucks. And I put this at number 8 because I feel like I tend to be very introspective, but I also can observe a lot of things. And if somebody liked me genuinely, I would have addressed it after a certain period of time, especially if either one, I like them too, because they would have known by then. I'm sorry, I don't have any poker face. If I like you, you gonna know. You go, no, for real, you go learn today. But like, if somebody liked me and I didn't like them back, like, we would have talked about it. Like, after, like, it would not have been a very long time. I mean, obviously I would probably have brought it up, maybe, unless like they confronted me or like, hey, I like you or something like that. But like, I would notice it, I would pick up on that stuff. And so, like, I don't like this trope because it's like, it can only really work and can only really be a thing if like the person who is the sought after one is just completely oblivious and like dumb. It's like, especially if they have known this person and they're like friends or something, like, I don't like that. Now, in the situation where it's like they're already taken and you want to take them, like, i.e. the wedding planner, um I like that. I think that would go a lot higher in my ranking because it's messy as hell. It's so messy. Wedding planner, he was fully cheating. He was fully cheating when he took her to that park, that drive-in carnival. I don't know what it was. It was very cute though. Totally would go on a date there. But like, whenever Matthew McConaughey took Jennifer Lopez there and we're talking about brown M&Ms, cheating. Sorry, cheating. And I don't condone cheating at all. But again, it makes for an entertaining movie. And yeah, so like in stuff like that, like if when the person's taken and you didn't know they were taken when you were like talking to them, like that's crazy. Obviously in real life that would be very hurtful, and I don't know how I would feel if I was like the other woman. If I knew that I was the other woman, that wouldn't actually happen because we're girls here. I'm a girl. Me and Benji, girls, okay? So like, we don't play that here. But if I was like unknowingly the other woman, I would have to beat a bitch up. As our dear angel Demi Lovato says, I'm about to beat this bitch up. And it would be him. It wouldn't be her. It would not be the I would have to catch a couple of cases, a couple of charges if I found out that you were playing in my face. First of all, so many layers. You were telling me I was the only one. Turns out you have another. You put me in the position to hurt another woman? Absolutely not. I need to hurt you now. Sorry, not actually. I'm not threatening violence. I'm not a violent person, but I'm just saying, like, I would be very upset. So in real life, this trope does not really work and it's not cool. But on TV, everything is an illusion, and I think it's actually plays pretty well. But any other time when it's just like somebody, oh, they're taken, and like they're just like pining after them, no, because first of all, that's not entertaining, and second of all, like, it's just not believable. Like, you would know if the person liked you and you would therefore act accordingly, whether that's telling them, hey, you should maybe date somebody else, or literally, I didn't even like that shit though, because like, it's like, no, like, just confront them and be like, hey, do you have a crush on me? No, yes, whatever. Okay, well, I really respect you. I love you as a friend, but I mean, I'm taken by somebody. And I hope that you respect that. Like, that's all you got to do. So, I hate this trope. Next trope is friends to lover. What? Friends to lovers with a gap in between. Number 7. So I personally, we're getting into the tropes that actually were really hard for me to rank because coming from here up, like, it's not necessarily like tropes that I dislike. They're just tropes that, like this middle section is just like tropes that I either don't see a lot or tropes that I'm just like, I like it a lot, but not enough for it to be in the top 3. So friends to lovers is very classic, but this particular friends to lovers trope is the friends to lovers, but like you start off as friends and then you basically either move away, you grow up, usually you're like childhood friends, so you grow up together, you've been in diapers together, you learn how to ride bikes together, you went to high school together, graduated together, all that beautiful stuff, which I wish I had. I think that's so cute. But then say you go away to college, or you like you move away, one of you, and you're like out and about, you like learn about yourself, do whatever it is in the world, and then you come back to your hometown, and then you reconnect, and then you fall in love. I love that trope. I think it's very, like, optimistic because, realistically, chances are if both of you move away and like, or if one of you even moves away, like you're within that span of time, if you're looking for a partner and you're wanting to be tied with somebody or in a relationship with somebody, then you're probably going to find somebody. Not to say that like it'll automatically work out with them, and or that you will like get divorced or something and then come back. But like chances are like in the real world that wouldn't actually like probably doesn't actually happen a lot. The reason why I like it though is like those are the type of stories that like you tell at like a dinner table, and that you tell like your grandkids. Like, I wasn't intended on getting married. I was engaged to your grandpa's friend, actually. But then I realized he was the one for me. And, that old Cooper who I was engaged to, he huffed and he puffed. But he knew I only had eyes for your grandpappy. Yeah. No, I for sure think that that's only the type of story that you could actually tell. Like this would only happen in like those like once in a lifetime serendipity, like very, very written in the stars type of ways. And that doesn't happen a lot. Not to say that it doesn't, but it doesn't happen very often. So that's why this is a number 7. And I still like it. I think it's really cute. It's not maybe the most entertaining thing because there's not usually a lot of mess or anything. Like there's usually a lot more like emotion, a lot of talking through things. Like, is it just that I'm happy to be home, or am I happy to be home with you specifically? am I in love with, this town, or am I in love with you? Well, I'm standing here by this horse in our small town that we grew up in. Is it the horses? Can't be. They stink. Beautiful. Stink. Has to be you. So yeah. Anyway, but that's number 7. Number 6 is forbidden love. So I think forbidden love is usually I see it in a lot of like soap opera-y or soap opera-esque stuff. Like it's usually very sexy too. Like there's a lot of sex involved with it. Not all the time, but I feel like usually it's like, oh, it's forbidden. Or like even if you wanted to like look at like Bridgerton, where Brimsley and Reynolds were together, which combines too, because also my other example of this was Royalty, where it's like our paths can never cross because we are from different royal families and all royal families hate each other, so we can't, but I love you and let's go make out, so like so Royalty and like usually like a type of love that's like societally unacceptable, aka queer people, or people who are interracial and stuff like that, or couples who are interracial. So I like forbidden love. I think it can be done really well, but it can also be done really poorly. Like it could be kind of fetishy, like, oh, I know this is forbidden because my family would hate this. Like, i.e. some of the guys that I've seen on these dating apps would be like, yeah, I want to date a white girl just to, or date a black girl just to like cross it off of my list. I know I want to do this so it'll make my parents angry. And it's like, am I a joke to you? Do you think that makes me feel better? That I'm a ploy? What? That I'm here to make your mother angry and like wonder what sex for us looks like? Are you serious? What? Anyway, not that it's personal, not that I'm talking from personal experience or anything. Anyway, moving on. So yeah, I think forbidden love can be done super well, but it can also be done, i.e. Bridgerton, or Queen Charlotte technically, but it could also be done really poorly and like just not particularly great. So yeah, that's number 6. Number 5, workplace romance. So we're getting into some of the tropes that I actually genuinely love. So I love a workplace romance. I've had a couple. I mean, not really, because I feel like the romance implies that it has to actually be reciprocated, and it wasn't. But I may or may not currently have a little bit of a work crush right now. Okay. Anybody from work listening to this, it's probably not you. But you never know. So just ask me the questions. It's fine. I don't know if I'll answer, but I'll see you at work. Anyway. So workplace romances, I think I like them because they represent a type of very realistic interaction with people. It's like kind of like The Office. Like, I'm just gonna bring up The Office with Pam and Jim. Like, I for sure could see something like that happening in any office across the country. Like the pining, like the glances, especially the way that the show was shot. I think it just showed so many emotions in such a little frame. The longing looks, the little cute little chats at the water fountain, the doing something extra or printing out something for somebody when they didn't ask you. Like, that's cute. Like, there's actually the workplace. I mean, obviously you gotta make sure you ain't getting harassment is not okay. I'm talking about like genuinely like wholesome. But like, I think it's super cute because I can see it happening and it seems realistic and it seems like very fun. Because it is technically it's your workplace, but it's like a lot of times work is really boring. So it's like, especially if I a really slow paced, again, sort of like office job, like sometimes it's fun to have a little crush, like having, have a little something to kind of, a little flirty. So yeah, it's like, it's fun. It's like a great way to kind of, even if you aren't intending on actually like dating this person, like still practicing like your little lines or like just communicating with somebody who you find attractive in a way that's not like weird or like creepy or threatening. Because if it was any of those things, HR would be called immediate meeting. And so yeah, we don't want any of that stuff, but I like it a lot. The only thing I don't like about it is that like a lot of times it's a very slow burn, and sometimes I'm just like, can y'all just kiss already? Can you just ask her out? Come on. And also the one thing I don't like about it is the very real fear is that it's not reciprocated, and then you have this really weird, awkward sort of vibe from there on out until one of you gets a boyfriend or girlfriend or partner or whoever, and then it's like, oh, I can settle down because they literally have somebody else, so I know they're not checking for me anymore. So yeah, so that could be a flop, but for the most part, I love a good workplace romance. I think they're fun to participate in and to watch as a viewer. Number 4, a love triangle. This should have been number 3 because a triangle has 3 points, but technically sometimes these love triangles be more like hexagons. So they be giving trapezoid at least. But I love a good love triangle, especially the main character who's like trying to choose between 2 people. I like to see their thought process on like why they're picking these people. Sometimes it's stupid as hell and it's like, how are we even here? You should have been dumped. I.e. Twilight, specifically Twilight Eclipse. Bella was she was being so disrespectful. I'm so sorry, but like I kind of admire it. Like, she had 2 fine ass men pining after her relentlessly, incessantly, and she didn't really do very much, but she was like playing the both of them low key. She was like, you want to keep me warm, Jacob? And then like, it was always him, Jacob. It was always Edward. So I'm just like, what is the truth, girl? But honestly, period. But yeah, so like sometimes a love triangle is a little bit annoying because it's like there's usually an obvious choice that you should be picking. Another example, To All the Boys I've Loved Before, the second movie, she should have picked John Ambrose. Sorry, but Noah Centinnepotism, Noah Centinoodle, Noah Centrifugal Force. I'm sorry, but I'm never gonna say his name. It's so fun to make up other endings of his last name. It's so fun. It's Noah Centineo. Noah Centineo was not the one that Lara Jean should have picked. Like, there was no reason for her to go for him when John Ambrose was the clear choice. And that's another thing. That's the reason why Love Triangle is number 4 and not my top 3, because usually there's always at least to the audience, a very, very obvious choice for who the main character should choose. And they always pick the OG person that they were with. Now, obviously, if you have lore with somebody, if you have a history with somebody, and they've been through through thick and thin, and then somebody else comes around who like doesn't really know you that well, like obviously, like that's one thing. But like that wasn't the case with John Ambrose. She, went to camp with him, or like, like she had a little history. Like, come on. So yeah, I just did not like the fact that she chose no. Like, there's always, and again, this is just one example, but there's so many examples where people should have picked the obvious choice, but they didn't because, I don't know, love or something. I'm sorry, I'm kidding. I like I said, I love love, but it's just like, well-placed love is probably the best love, and I personally think a lot of these people's choices were a little bit questionable. But yeah, so that's why it's in the 4th place. I still love a good love triangle because, again, I always love to see the person's thought process, if we get it at all, but also like, what they value in a partner, because you can kind of see, because usually the two people that they're trying to choose between are very different. And so it kind of like is like a psychological sort of intrigue, I think, that like kind of like pulls me in. It's like, what are they gonna pick? Like, what do they love in a partner? Like, what is their thought process? So yeah, that's why love triangles are number 4. All right, we're getting to the top 3, babe. We're getting to the top 3. You ready for this? Okay, number 3, enemies to lovers. Stand up. I don't care. I love an enemies to lovers. Just the pure, unmitigated, trifling ass behavior that I have seen in enemies to lovers films. Hello? How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days? Like, hello? That's literally one of my favorite rom-coms. I want to say it's like top like 5, because literally the stuff that Kate Hudson was pulling in that shit. Oh. I would have been gone the first day. I do really love like the whole pettiness of it, because it's like, I would never do any of this stuff in a relationship because I'm tired. Okay, if I have some beef with you, I'm just gonna talk. I'm just gonna talk about it. But I live vicariously through Kate Hudson, so that's what I love. Yeah, so that's why I love enemies to lovers. I also love how like it's very obvious that like they're gonna fall in love at the end, but it's like you don't know, because the genuine like vitriol and disdain that these people have for each other is so palpable that it's just like, I love it. It's the best, because it's like, how do these people, and they were literally about to kill each other at the beginning of this movie in the opening scene, and how are they like lovey-dovey and like let's make babies together at the end? It doesn't make any sense to me, but I love it. Number 2, friends to lovers. This friends to lovers is different, okay? Now, I know that I mentioned friends to lovers as number 7, I think, in my ranking. But this friends to lovers is different. This is the more traditional one that you typically see, where it's like they've been friends forever, or they have just started to become friends or whatever. But usually they've been friends for like a significant amount of time, and they know a lot about each other. There's a gradual build up, and then they finally are just like sitting somewhere talking together, and then they see it. IT. Not information technology. They see it. They see the pure love and pure just beating, bleeding heart of it all in each other's eyes. And then they decide, oh my God, I'm in love with you. I've been in love with you this entire time. I just didn't see it until now. Okay, come on. Can we get some commotion for this? I love this trope. I think this is what I want to happen to me. I think that's probably why I love it so much. I love the whole, like, we've seen each other at our worst because we were never planning on being each other's romantic partners. So we never had any sort of shield or any sort of guard up. I mean, obviously, when you first become friends with them, yeah. But like, for the most part, it's like as those walls have been breaking down, like you essentially have known me at my worst and at my best. And so, of course, I know that you're going to treat me well. And of course, because you have been for so long. And, you know, I love you. And like, oh, I will say, sometimes friends date and then it doesn't work out well because they found out they're not really compatible romantically. Even if you do end up dating and it doesn't work out, like they have been your friend forever. And so, or they still were your friend. They started off as your friend. So you can go back to being friends because you've had experience being friends before. So you know what that looks like. I think that's the issue that I have run into a couple of times where like I wanted to be friends with a person, you know, after we decided like, oh, we are not going to be romantic. And it was like a disaster because we did not know how to be friends because we started off as, you know, lovers, I guess. I don't know. I'm sorry. Not really, but you know, we started off as romantically involved. So I don't know. I think being friends with the intention of being friends first is amazing. This trope usually involves like a lot of like sentimental stuff, like 13 going on 30, prime example. Razzles. I'm sorry, but it's so cute. It's a gum and a candy. Yeah, so like I love the little sentimental things. Also the dollhouse, hello. Ugh, like I love that. I live for that because that is the type of romance that I want. My number one romance trope is fake dating. Stand up again. You should have been standing already. You should have been standing for like the past 15 minutes. I need you to just point your head in some direction because they're everywhere. Point your head in some direction and say thank you. Thank you. Because multiple people on this earth came up with the idea, or maybe the people who came up with this are dead because fake dating has been a thing forever. But like point somewhere into the ether and say thank you. Because this trope is literally like why I made this entire ranking. I love fake dating because it's so layered. You not only have to pretend that you like this person, because chances are they're also an enemy. Enemies to lovers also coming in here as well. Chances are they're also an enemy. But even if they're not, you have to pretend to be in love with this person or at least like them as more than a friend. You have to touch this person. You have to be, you know, mentally and emotionally engaged with this person and typically in front of others. And I think also I love this because there's always like an incentive, but then the incentive means like jack shit at the end of the movie because their love was more than that incentive, was more than that inheritance from their great grandfather, right? And so, or whatever it is, I love it. It can do no wrong. Fake dating is amazing. And also another thing about it is that like usually it involves like meeting the person's parents and like learning more about the person that you didn't know and you would not have otherwise known if you weren't dating. And that like lends to you wanting to date them more and like falling in love with them. And it's like you wouldn't have needed to do that unless you were fake dating. And it's just so beautiful. And I love it. And yes, I think this is probably this is the best trope. Also, favorite rom-com, favorite romantic movie of all time is The Proposal for this reason. And also Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds. Hello. Ryan Reynolds' brown eyes. I was Niagara Falls. I was Niagara Falls on the Canada side and on the New York side. I'm so sorry. Anyway, but yeah, that movie was amazing. Yeah, of course, some of it maybe didn't age well, because it was like released in what, like 2008 or something, or 2006. But like for the most part, it's a good freaking movie. Like, it is a good movie. Essentially, Sandra Bullock's character, she is like this like HBIC editor at this company. She's Canadian, and turns out that her visa expires, or like she forgot to renew her visa, and she has to get deported, and she would lose her business because she can't work from home, because apparently it's 2006 and you couldn't do that. Although after COVID, pretty much you can work from anywhere for anywhere from anywhere. But anyway, that's not relevant. But yeah, when her assistant, who was like very doting, but like very begrudgingly doting, and not doting in a way of like, oh, I love, like, I like this person, I want to be a good assistant, but in a way of like, I need to be a good assistant because otherwise I'm probably going to get fired. And I also want to get this editing position. He knows literally everything about her, and she like on the spot says, oh, we're engaged, I'm not gonna get deported. And so then they're doing this fake dating, technically fake engagement, and it's amazing. I'm sorry, go watch it. It's not even that long of a movie, and it doesn't even feel that long because it's well paced, and it's like they kind of get into the drama like immediately. Like within the first 10 minutes you already kind of know the plot. And it's so good. It's so good. It's so funny. It takes two to make a thing go right. Come on now. It's got everything. It's so good. Ugh. And it's got that vulnerability, like that slowly but surely, like peeling off those onion peels or whatever. That's a redundant sentence. Peeling back the layers. Sure. I am not Shrek. I'm sorry. But peeling back the layers of Sandra Bullock, because again, she's like the hard ass, she's very much like, take no shit, that type of person. But like, turns out like stuff that people say about her is like really hurtful, because she's a human. And so like she reveals that to Ryan Reynolds, and it's just so cute and so sweet. Ugh, I love it. And also one of the best ending credit scenes ever. Like, that's one of the only movies where I actually watch the ending credits for, because it's so funny. And It Takes Two by DJ Easy Rock and Rob Bass is playing in the background. And I actually listened to that song unironically because I used to listen to it growing up, so it's actually very good. So anyway, that's my ranking for my romance tropes. I have been recording for an hour and 30 minutes and 52 seconds. And so I'm not going to do an Am I the Asshole post for today because I think, it would be nice if I might do one. I will probably return to them next week, but I know I didn't do one last time either. But this time it's literally because if this is Thursday when I'm recording this, and I have not, it'll probably take a while for me to edit. So no Am I the Asshole post. That being said, there is an audience submission link in the bio of my Instagram at Worthy of Note Pod. Please follow if you like this, okay? And also follow my personal account because you already know what I'm about to say. It's right there in the bio. Just do it, please. But Worthy of Note Pod is going to be where all updates about this show and information and teaser trailers are going to be. And if you go to the link in that bio, you will be able to submit any question or if you're like, what do I do in this situation? I am by no means an expert, but I am capable of providing my opinion because that's what I've been doing for this entire episode. So, that's my resume. But yeah, so if you would like to comment or ask anything there, feel free. I would love to respond and read them. And yeah, if you like this episode, be sure to give it a 5-star rating and review if you would like. I am really excited for the rest of this. Now that I'm kind of back on track, I'm really hoping that I am able to stay on track with posting and everything. I just have had a not great couple of weeks. So yeah, but I'm hoping that I can continue to you know, talk to you guys and have a little chat, because I've actually really grown to, this is only the 6th episode and I've already like really grown to love and enjoy this, and it's been something that I'm looking forward to every week. So, and I hope that that's the same for you. That's all I have for you all today, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.